welcome back to the Power of 1 Million. Today we have an amazing guest. I cannot wait for you guys to hear her story. This is Necole that is sitting with me. And guys, she has a wonderful story about, today we're going to talk about her freedom journey.
You know what? Her pivots, all her pivots and
all her
reinventions and all that. Okay.
Yes, that part. The pivots, the reinventions, the everything. And I cannot wait. So y'all, welcome to the stage, Necole.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
You know, you're such a light. Like when you walk in the room, I just met you this weekend and just lit the room up. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. And this is going to be really calm and chill. I'm even going to turn towards you, put my feet up. This is Girl Talk today.
Okay.
So first, tell the people who you are.
So my name is Necole Kane. I'm most known for being the gossip blogger Necole Bitchy, which I ran a very popular celebrity gossip site for 7 years. I also have a women's empowerment and lifestyle platform called Necole, and I am the founder of a period brand that helps women have better periods called My Happy Flow.
I love it. And today we talked about, we're gonna go through your pivots. So let's back up then all the way to the beginning. Mm-hmm. How did you first get into Necole Bitchy?
How did I get into Necole Bitchy? I was in a place in my life where I had hit rock bottom. Like I had been interning at a radio station as a producer. Then I moved to New York and I'm applying for all these different jobs. I mean, every job out there, Diddy assistant, Tyra Banks assistant. And I just kept getting all these no's. And what I've learned about myself on this journey is that I don't know how to really big myself up and sell myself and talk about myself in a way that says we need to give her the job. Yeah. And so I kept getting turned down from these jobs and I was like, I am never gonna send out another resume because it just tore at my self-esteem and confidence so much that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I quit sending out the resumes. And I just want to say I've never sent out a resume since then.
Really?
At all. So I stopped sending out the resumes. Well, my money dried up and I had no money for rent. And also the IRS came and froze my bank account.
Yes. That was
Let me tell you, the IRS is a running theme through my whole entire journey.
Really? Oh, tell me. I want to know all of this.
So the IRS came and froze my bank account. I think something happened where a few years prior, my mom claimed me on her taxes. I claimed myself. Craziness happened, but they froze my bank account. And so now I have no money, no bank accounts. And so I went back home on the Eastern Shore of Maryland to stay at an aunt's house. And I'm back at home, like, there's the only jobs where we're from is like the pickle plant and Walmart. And I was like, there's no way. I just knew God had more for me. And so I'm in my aunt's guest room and I start NecoleBitchy.com. And I had a vision from the start. Like, I think I might have got like about 30 people, like, logging in. Okay. But you couldn't tell me that wasn't like 300,000 people logging in.
Because it was somebody.
I was like, and then they started commenting, and I started on MySpace at first. And I transitioned to a blog. But while I'm trying to figure out this website and how to get more people to it, my aunt was like, why is she on the internet all day? Like, why is she applying for jobs? And she felt like I was kind of like not motivated. And so she came to me one day and said, I need you to, like, I'm gonna give you a month. And I took it as, oh, a month? I'm leaving this weekend, because my pride was like, she doesn't want me here. And so I took my little website down to Atlanta and packed my clothes up. And I was like, I have to make this celebrity gossip site work. And down in Atlanta, I met a publicist. I paid her $500. She took me on the scene. I started blogging about the scene, the parties, the promoter, and I connected with photographers and asked them, could they send me the pictures?
Yeah.
And so I started blowing up the Atlanta scene by blogging about the celebrities that were out, getting the pictures from the photographers. And that's what really helped evolve Necole Bitchy.
And it went from 30 people to how, or 3 people, or no, it was 30. 30 people to how many?
It ended up, I mean, by the time I transitioned out of that site, 20 million page views a month.
Whoa.
Yeah.
At this time, you have 20 million people a month.
Man, you know, when you're behind a computer, you don't even realize what's going on in the outside world around you. So it's almost like this site was blowing up over the next few years. And of course, I did interviews that became really big and that type of thing. But I didn't know the impact until I started actually like leaving out my house and going places. And I was like, oh shoot, people know who I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, it started blowing. I got a lot of really great things that happened. I remember Single Ladies, the VH1 show came out.
Yes.
And they had asked me if I could sign paperwork so they could mention me in the show.
Oh, wow.
But I ended up being mentioned 3 times throughout that show. Like it was like I was a character in the show, but not really there. They kept mentioning Necole.
Yes.
And so people were like, how much she paid for that?
Like, it was free.
It was free.
I love it.
So they're looking at me like I'm some marketing genius. My website banners was a picture of me coming out a computer screen choking a nerdy version of myself. And it was kind of like playing off of I was so shy. So my online personality, people expected me to be like Wendy Williams, fierce, but I was this shy girl, introvert, you know.
Wow.
So that was what that, but I think it was just a string of really great marketing. I didn't know back then that I'm really good at marketing.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the site just started blowing up. I went on a tour with Rihanna. She went to 7 countries in 7 days.
Yes.
And I was like one of the only bloggers there, like independent bloggers.
Wow.
Most was like VH1 or so.
How did you, before we keep going, how did you feel at this time? So you had gone from this place where like the IRS
Froze the bank account.
Froze the bank accounts. Now you are having millions of followers. At that time, was it followers or just page views?
It was page views. So I would say it would probably be about 5 million unique visitors a month or whatever. But it was just,
How were you feeling?
like Necole Bitchie became the site people would go to every day, several times a day. And I knew that. That's why I would post at least 7 times a day, 4 to 7 times a day, but I would spread it out. So they had to keep coming back versus getting it all at one time.
Yeah.
How did I feel? I don't know. Like it's, you know, celebrity gossip is a little toxic. I wasn't living the healthiest lifestyle. I probably was eating like 1 time a day at the end of the day. I probably a lot of depression because you're just taking in toxic news every day. There's people cheating on each other, celebrities cheating, people dying that you have to report on.
Yeah.
I had private investigators show up at my house.
Really?
Yeah, really powerful people sent private investigators to my house. I've had death threats. Like people would call my office that I share with my publicist and say, like, I think I was just leaving out to go to an award show and she got a call and they were like, tell Necole she's dead.
What?
And I had just stepped out of an office.
And this is because things you're reporting.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it's just, you end up with a lot of crazies when you're reporting news.
Yeah.
And like every time I talk to someone about my site, they always say, well, was it negative? You know, I felt like you just gave the facts, but somebody felt it was negative.
Yes.
You know, so it just was a lot of like feeling unsafe, feeling like I was always looking over my shoulder, feeling like when I walked in a room, I was the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Like the whole room would shift.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I was like, I cannot.
I remember we were on a panel and you talked a little bit about this feeling of being unsafe.
Yeah.
And how when you get to a certain level that really overtakes.
Oh yeah, I did. Because I think I have PTSD from the fame of Necole Bitchie. Because I remember even living in Atlanta. I'm surprised I'm living in Atlanta now because I remember being in a nail shop and I logged into Twitter and there was a picture of me in that nail shop. I had on my sweatpants and it was like, look at Necole Bitchie looking a mess in the nail shop. And I was like,
I'm trying to relax and get my nails done. And y'all up in here?
Man, I mean,
Whoa.
yeah, so it's little things like that. I know I be joking about getting set free. But yeah,
true.
I just felt like I had all this money and fame and I could go as I pleased, but I was just, I didn't feel safe ever. I didn't feel safe enough to date without someone going on like the internet and tweeting about it, or I didn't feel safe.
Yeah. There was a Instagrammer. She also was a reporter, but that committed suicide recently. Do you
Oh,
know
wow.
about that?
No, I don't.
Her name is, I think it's Crystal.
Oh, yeah, I've heard. The Miss
Crystal?
America, she used to be Miss
Yes.
USA. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And I wonder, like, sometimes people don't know behind the scenes.
Of what they're going through, what they're
Right.
reading, who's contacting them and saying what. Is someone trying to blackmail you? Like, it's so many things. Like, you
Yeah.
have no idea the battles that people are, and I came up when the internet wasn't as nice to black women. Like right now, you can go into a black women's comment section and you see just, girl, you better like, it's just
Yeah.
100 black women bigging her up. And I do feel like my transition into EXO Necole played a role in that culture of we gonna support each other.
Yes.
But yeah, but it wasn't like that back then. It was mean comments all the time.
Right.
It was insane.
Is that one of the reasons why you decided to then pivot?
I did because I started changing as a person. Like I started Necole Bitchy when I was 28. And then I crossed over into my 30s. And when you cross into your 30s, there's something that's called a Saturn return, I believe. But it's when your whole life starts shifting. You start, like, your friends circles start shifting. And I think a lot of people start chasing purpose in their why. Why was I put here? You'll see a lot of people transitioning out of careers and that type of thing. So I started working on my becoming, I guess. And I was like, this site is not in alignment with who I am becoming and want to become. And I felt like when I posted positive things, my audience, look at me, y'all be embarrassed. If you're watching this, it used to be a Necole Bitchy in the audience, in the comment section, y'all used to embarrass me. Really? Talking mean about people I'm trying to be nice to.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was like those cousins at the cookout. You're like, can y'all please behave? I'm trying to do a positive post today.
Right, and y'all coming for them. Stop
Right.
coming for them.
Yes, because I don't know how those people feel when they click on the comment section and see 300 comments and they're all negative. So I didn't want to give people a platform to talk about others in that type of way or put others down in that type of way.
And knowing the God, like you exude God, you talk about God. So how did that make you feel, knowing that like the people were being so negative, and were you a woman of God at that time?
I was not.
Okay. Okay.
I was not. I was like, God was working on me. He still is. But I just knew there was something bigger for me. And damn it.
We gotta get her a tissue, y'all.
I'm the queen of crying. I think I lost, sorry.
It's okay.
Part of the story I skipped was I lost my parents around the age of 22 and 24.
Okay.
And my father was, sorry, damn it, my makeup, I should have put,
Still looks fine.
what is it? But my father was 42, my mom was 41. And I had also lost, by the time I had gotten to my 30s, I had lost all my grandparents. Sorry. Thank you.
I know you're like,
she's like that good friend. But I had lost all my grandparents as well. So I'm navigating the world and lost like really people really close to me. And I'm always wondering if they would be proud of me, as well as my grandmother, who was an entrepreneur. She was a barber. And so I always wondered if she was proud of me. So yeah, I'm going through this stage in my 30s. I hit 35. And again, my mom passed when she was 41, my father when he was 42. Wow. now I'm like 6 or 7 years away from their ages when they died. And I had to ask myself, are you going to continue to live your life as a spectator? Because if you're doing celebrity gossip, you're just watching what everybody else is doing and reporting on it. Like, when are you going to actually live your life? And I started thinking about my funeral, which, you know, I guess when you have parents that pass early, you think about that a lot. And I was just like, I don't want people at my funeral being like, she gave some good tea. Like, you know, I really wanted to make a positive impact, and have a positive legacy. And so that's what made me like really start working on my transition. It was hard because I was making a lot of money as a gossip blogger. I could, like I said, go as I please, travel the world. And me leaving that site meant I was going to potentially give up everything. The money, the fame. I had no really concrete plan of how I was going to survive.
And what age was this again?
35.
So this is 30.
I was turning 35.
So from like
34
to 34,
yeah.
This has been your world. You said that you felt like you were living your life like you were running out of time.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
of your parents.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was recent, though.
That was recent?
That was like last year, the last 2 years. It's been very, I needed a therapist. No one prepared me for what it was going to be like to turn the ages my parents were when they passed. So I noticed like last year, 2020 was a very depressive year, but that's for everybody. Collectively, we were all going through it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, I saw myself turning 40 and I'm like, I had so many feelings about turning 40. Like, it was such an old age and, you know, I was missing my peak and my prime, and if I wasted a lot of my life just grinding and hustling, but not like nourishing friendships and relationships. But then leading up to 41 last year was just terrible. I felt like I was sabotaging a lot of friendships and relationships because I, again, was living my life as though I was running out of time, and I was rushing things. Like, I may date someone and I felt like I was in a rush, or I started a new business with a co-founder and we rushed through the process versus really outlining just the important stuff you need to outline when you're in a partnership, like operating agreements, percentages. And so it cost me not only my business partner, but a friendship. And so I look back at like, why is all this chaos in my life? And I realized it was because I was turning 41. I was in a rush to reach all these milestones. Like, I was living my life as though I was dying.
Yeah.
And see, I was in a situation when my mom passed, she actually showed me her coffin and she showed me her tombstone. So she planned.
So she knew that it was coming?
Yeah, she had cancer.
Okay.
And so I remember I always was wondering how she could plan her own funeral. But I listened to a book. I forgot what it's called, The Last Arrow.
Okay.
And I was walking down the street and I'm listening to it. And he said in that book, if you're living your life and you're not going for your dreams, that you've already chosen your burial plot.
Wow.
Because you're just existing. And so, like, I think that book changed so much for me. And I'm like, you know, even now, I'm just like, I know what I need to be doing to get free.
Right. To live your dreams.
And when I mention, y'all might hear me mention get free a few times in this podcast. I just started saying it over the last few days. But what it really means, like, when you feel stuck, like when I say I need to get free, it's a feeling of stuck. It's a feeling of settling. It's a feeling of there's more for me out here in the world than what is happening right now in this moment.
Let's get there, because I want to see what we got to go back to this story, and then we're going to see what made you get to this place of feeling stuck.
Okay.
Because you left, so you're 34, 35, and you decide to leave Necole Benchy.
Yeah.
And then you transition to EXO Necole.
Yes.
Now, how did that happen?
That happened because there was a woman named LaToya Shambo. She worked at Complex at the time, but she was marketing herself in helping business. I don't know if it was helping business owners transition or what it was, but it seemed like what I needed. I just needed an accountability partner. That's it. I really needed someone to sit and talk with me each month and lay out. We picked a date in January of 2015, and the date was in June or July 2015 that I would leave my gossip site.
Okay.
So once I need a date, I'm working backwards of what I need to do to get free. And so, you know, I think Essence Weekend came, and I was like, I am not blogging through another award show, another big weekend. I got my little letter together. Like, this is giving Girls Trip, Queen Latifah and Girls Trip flashbacks.
Oh, man.
Because I think she did a video to leave her gossip site in the movie.
Okay.
I wrote a long letter about purpose and just wanting to step into the woman I know God intended me to be. And I put it up on the website, and I went and I ran off to Mexico for a few days and let the internet just do what they did.
And you didn't look, I'm guessing. Or you
I mean, no, I didn't look. I didn't look. It was a lot of like, I think since it was a big award show weekend and we're normally at the award show, it was a lot of buzz in the press rooms. Like, did you know blogger Necole Bitchy quit? Like, she put a letter on her website, you know, this whole thing. And I remember seeing the same thing happen with a blogger I look up to, Angel from Concrete Loop, did a similar thing where she closed her site down years prior. So, yeah. But I thought I was going to lose my audience. And so I tried to rush
to get the other one up.
The other site up. So it was a 6-week time period between me leaving that note and us switching over to the new site.
Did you lose your audience like you thought?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because not like when you're evolving and going to the next level, you can't take everybody with you. Like some people's mindset isn't there yet.
Amen.
And so like there was a lot of drop off. We tried to come out and like sprinkle some celebrity stuff in there, but I felt like people were getting confused. And I was like, if you're going to like make the transition, make the transition. Like, you putting celebrity stuff up here every now and then is like almost like you're half in, half out. So yeah, we started focusing on more just elevating content in terms of relationships, sex, women's health, mental health, and those type of things, because I knew women needed more than just gossip. You would go to every site during that time. It was so celeb obsessed that every site for Black women had like celebrities all over the site. And I knew like we needed more content than that. We're trying to get our money up. Like, I just knew we needed content that really would help us rise as a race and a gender.
How did it transform from when you first started it to now?
Are we going through, it's changed over the years. My site was bought in 2017 by Hollywood producer Will Packer.
Okay.
And then, that helped a lot because, to be honest, I launched XO Necole, and then I feel like we didn't make money for like the first 12 to 18 months.
Really?
So I was running out. I'm using my own money to pay writers. I'm using my bank account. Great, hit zero. It didn't hit zero a couple times. And I remember having a little resentment towards the site because like I launched it and didn't really have a plan to make money. And it was taking so much of my money, and I'm doing brand deals and all types of stuff just to keep the writers money in their pockets. But I just felt like, is this all for nothing? So even when I got my site acquired, it wasn't worth a lot.
Really?
It wasn't worth a lot. So it wasn't like I got acquired for like $5 million or something crazy, or 10 or 15, 25, or like it wasn't worth a lot. It barely was worth enough to pay off like my IRS bills and my creditors. And but I wanted a partner in Will, and I wanted to see the site live beyond me and become something like, like another Essence one day.
Yes. Actually, that's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, it sounds like it'd be like Essence.
Yeah, they used to call us a baby Essence.
Yeah.
The Black Cosmo. Like, we had all types of names. So, yeah.
What would you say to those people that think that people with so many followers, like automatically, like you must be making all this money because you have all these people looking at it?
I mean, the more money you make, the more, I mean, I remember one year during the Necole Bitchy days, I probably spent 50,000 or something insane on glam. Going to the different events, you know, hair, makeup, styling, like it costs money to especially if you're a face. So, yeah, these things cost money.
Yeah.
Making content, creating content costs money.
It does.
So yeah.
And I'm thinking about, because you said that your business, like you were giving all of your money and it wasn't actually making money.
I was like, this is the worst investment ever.
Really?
And I didn't know anything about stocks or any of the things that's going on now. And what I love about the internet right now is that you can learn anything. Back then, like there wasn't a lot of coaches, teachers. There wasn't a lot of talk about, you know, taxes, entrepreneurship, how to save and make your money work for you, how to write things off.
Yeah.
Like there is now.
That is true. There's a lot more help.
Man.
But then, okay, there's so many random, so I have random questions. Okay. We're still getting to this place of like not being settled, but like, so what did the IRS come? Because you said multiple times. What else did they come for?
Well, I think in 2018, after I sold my site, I got a visit from the IRS to my place. They, you know, came and I'm sorry, I'm hitting the mic, but and she came and she said, I'm here to collect, you know, this amount. And I saw 6 figures across the paper. And it was for prior years because, again, when I was Necole Bitchy, nobody was talking to me about how to, I didn't get a really great business manager until I was almost 5 years in, 6 years in. And the business manager I had prior to that was filing my taxes, but not, or preparing my taxes, but not filing them. And this business manager had to break the news to me when he's trying to get all my money together. So there was a lot of cleaning up he had to do. I was a hot mess because that year I also had got sued for like $1 million for posting one Beyonce picture of herself pregnant, and it wasn't licensed. We didn't know anything about being licensing.
Yeah.
So not only am I being sued for $1 million, but then I find out I have all these back taxes I have to pay. And I was just like, I thought my world was ending.
I was going to say,
I thought my world was ending.
How did you get through that?
I don't know how I got through that, but it just felt like I was like drowning in like IRS bills and lawsuits and all the things. But yeah, so with the IRS, you know, even now I still get bills from the IRS, and it's from like 2012 or like those years during the Necole Bitchy days where like, and we tried to catch them up, but then the years while we were trying to catch that up, I'm making even more money in the later years, you know, and so now that's piling up.
Bills.
So now that's piling up. And I think if I went back, what I'd do differently, I mean, if I had kept up with my books and stuff, being able to write so much stuff, like it would be a headache now to try to go back and do like my expenses and seeing what I could write off and really get those bills down. I mean, we could still do it. It's just going to take a lot of work and time.
So here, go ahead and talk to this camera. Because I know, like, the thing is, when you went through something, you're not the only one.
Absolutely. I know there has to be influencers,
that.
Content creators, etc. out there. The money is coming fast. They're not setting aside anything for taxes right now. Like, you know, they don't have their books together. They're just getting the money fast. And
tell them what they should do different.
Definitely I don't care if you making $5 a month or if you're making, you know, $50,000 a month or whatever it is, get those books together, know what your write-offs is. And I'm sure you know some things in terms of taxes. Even where you live matters. Like there's places like Texas, Miami, Tennessee.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that don't. I don't know how does Puerto Rico work? They don't have.
If you're a resident, then you don't have to, like, you can do 4% taxes for online businesses.
And that's it. Like, because you know how most states they have, when I lived in New York, I had to pay city, state, and federal tax.
See, they do still have like some bigger income tax, but like on your actual earnings, it's only 4% if you apply.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all of that matters. Where you live, how you.
It does.
Yeah. So getting yourself a good accountant quick.
That's important.
As you start making your money and paying people, making sure you get your contractors, because we all work with contractors, photographers, videographers, makeup artists. Make sure you're getting their W-9s. If you're going to pay them more than $600 for the year, you don't want to be running that down.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And then when we switch over to the business side too, when you said that the business wasn't earning a lot of money, I also felt like a lot of women and men that are watching would identify with that too. When you start a new business,
Oh, man.
it's your baby, and
You're putting a lot of money in, but a lot of money is going out, but you're not getting a lot in sometimes, depending on what type of business you have. Like, I'm even going through that with e-commerce. Some people, it takes 3 to 5 years, maybe even longer, to turn a profit in e-commerce because your money keeps getting caught up in inventory.
How do you sustain during that season?
That is a good question. Loans, like, you know, applying to so many loans and grants, and but it's like sometimes that's all you see is in front of you is debt. Like, okay, is this gonna be worth it, God? Because I'm following my calling. You told me this is what you want me to do, but I see a lot of money going out again.
Right. Because that's the part, it's the mental part. Like, how do you, like, mentally push through? And I know there's not really one answer or one size fits all, but, like, that's the grit. I'm even praying that, like, just by seeing us, because there's been times, too, in my business where it's just like, is this, like, there was a time when I first was trading, and, like, when I first quit my job and then I started trading, I had a big loss.
And what year was this?
This was 2017.
Okay.
I had 2017. I had started traveling overseas, so I'm in Thailand. I have a huge loss trading. It was $26,000 at the time, which for me was huge because I was coming from being assistant principal. All I had saved up was like $30,000, $35,000. So it was actually $35,000. So that's most of everything is now gone.
Absolutely.
Like, overnight.
I would have PTSD.
Girl.
I'd be scared to get back out there. Yeah.
I'm crying. I'm like, I thought this is what I was supposed to do, but I got to get a job again. Like, I remember coming home and, like, I'm still having to try to work through that loss. So I'm trading. I'm doing okay, but I mean, anytime you have a loss, you got to try to figure out, like, it's not like, okay, I'm making this money. Like, you got to, like, you're building your account back up.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's slow.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, now I come home, I was in grad school, and I remember thinking, how am I going to pay my rent?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, like, 2 days before I had to pay my rent, my refund check from grad school came
Oh, look
through.
at that.
And I'm like, God, you are such an awesome God. But, like, I feel like we've all been through those seasons where we're just like, how is this going to work out?
I feel like I'm going to keep going through the seasons. Every time I decide to transition, it's not like it gets easier. So, yeah, I'm sure and the thing is that you got to be willing to take the risk of losing everything. Yeah. That's what's so crazy, to get free.
Yeah.
You either risk losing everything or you stay stuck in that job you hate or in this position that you feel like you've outgrown.
Yeah. Now you decided, so you're at XO Necole. Now, what's leading now to the I feel stuck and I want to be free?
Well, honestly, if you like, for me, I just had a lot of my career where I had money coming from all over the place. So many streams, and even as an influencer, you get like a lot of big checks. You know, even now, like if I stopped doing brand deals for a minute because I really wanted to focus on growing XO Necole, but I didn't realize how confined or constricting a salary was. And I was like, oh, like I haven't been on a salary for maybe most of my life.
Yeah.
And so, you know, yes, you get a check every 2 weeks and it's comfortable. But for me, coming from so much money for so many years, that check looked like nothing to me. And then I was like, okay. And, you know, you create this lifestyle. Thank God. I will say this. There was a point right before Will Packer bought my website that I was living in Arizona. I loved my place out there, but I remember I wanted to fight for my brand. And so I sold everything I had. And I mean, all the clothes I had accumulated during the Nicole Bitchy days. I drove my car at the time to a CarMax. They gave me a check. And because I knew I couldn't grow the brand like I wanted to in Arizona, where I was living at the time. And I showed up in New York with two or three suitcases, and I rented a room for $600. I was staying in like this place in Harlem with this rotating. I never knew who was gonna be in the room next door. It was like they were rotating those people out, honey. And that was like a humbling moment for me because I had gave up everything at that point.
Just to see this work.
And the money I had in the account was just what the things I had sold. And it was very humbling. I'm living in this room in Harlem, and I'm like, if anybody knew this, I'd be a headline, a Fall from Grace headline. And the acquisition went through maybe 3 months later, or whatever.
But you had done this to fight for your brand, and then you still decided to do the acquisition?
I did because I knew somebody else was gonna put money into the site. Okay. It was no longer have to run off of my money and my resources, that it would have resources. I could hire a team. And I mean, honestly, if he didn't come and do the acquisition in 2017, I don't know if I saw Necole would still be online. I don't think it would have. Because it takes money to run a media platform like that. You got to pay writers, and it's a media company. Yeah.
Explain to me, you sold everything.
Man.
And now you're in Harlem.
So I think I went back to me selling everything because that humbled me so much that, like, I came to Atlanta and I was like, I'm not getting no big old place. Give me this little 1-bedroom apartment. Like, it's this fear. I think when we were on a panel and we were talking about all the people you start having to pay and all this, there's a fear of having to go back or losing everything once you start making money.
Yeah.
There's a fear of one day losing it all, especially if you didn't come from money. And I had already saw myself hit rock bottom several times, lose it all several times. So I was like, I came to Atlanta and I had to scale my lifestyle back.
Yeah.
So that I can first fit in the confines of this salary. And second, so I could survive. Yeah, so that was humbling.
Yes. So they're paying you a salary, and then recently you and I talked, and you talked about how now they are bringing someone on. And is it okay to talk about this?
We.
Okay.
we are. So yeah, recently, so now the brand is growing. We're getting more attention from advertisers. Like, I feel like the whole George Floyd thing, the 2020 reckoning, all the media companies getting called out for not having diversity. Yeah. And so brands are looking to invest in more Black companies, Black brands, Black media sites. And so we're starting to make way more money than we've ever made in terms of brand deals. And so now, I knew I brought the site as far as I could with my limited media knowledge. Like, I started a media company and had never worked for a media platform or a publication before in my life. I didn't know how, like, regular publications were run. I was guessing my way through everything. And my managing editor had never ran a company before, or my social media. We were all guessing.
Yeah.
We were doing it.
Just making it up as you go.
Making it up as you go. We didn't know how much people should be getting paid or like what contracts were needed for what things. We were just guessing our way through. Like, Lord bless us, because we did our best and we got us here. But now it's like, okay, let's invest in being an actual media brand. And so we recently hired an EIC, editor-in-chief, which would oversee the brand, which was my old position. Okay. Someone who had experience in editorial, working with other big brands, and that could bring her expertise to the company.
Now, how does that make you feel? Because I know like that, and I keep asking about feelings just because I feel like that's what people don't get to hear, and that's what will really like set some people free.
Yeah.
They're probably feeling really alone. Like I'm the only one that's ever had to do something.
Yeah, well, I think for me, first, no one ever prepared me for how I would feel selling a company.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anybody that had ever. Zim from Travel Noir, I'm able to reach out to her sometimes, but when you sell a company, it's almost like giving someone your baby.
And that would be
I
so
had this
hard.
baby. I felt the pain of having this baby. Now I'm giving it to someone else to raise and trusting. And I'm still on board and in the mix right now. But so I think even bringing in a new editor-in-chief, I'm trusting you with my baby.
Yeah.
I'm trusting that my baby won't come home talking back to me or disrespecting me, or I see my baby a year from now and I'm like, that ain't my job. You know what I mean? And so that's very hard. And it was a lot for me to process. And it still is. I'm still going through just the feelings of, I mentioned on the panel, the first week, I'm so involved in my brand. So the first week when I was told to kind of chill, sit back for a minute, let her do her thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I've always felt if you're not being used, you're useless. So what do you want me to do around here? What jobs do you have for me? Because if you're not putting me, I feel like I'm no longer needed. So I was going through a lot of feelings that was just, I went through a very hard time. It was like one of the darkest depression states I've been in a few years. Like I'm already dealing with, because I'm the age my mom was when she passed away. So I'm already dealing with being 41. And now I'm also dealing with feeling like I'm not as needed as I used to be. And all those feelings together was just a big ball of depression for me.
Yeah. I can feel that, especially like I feel it with even more than just business owners, but even parents, when the parent doesn't need them anymore.
Oh yeah,
And
they don't know what, like when their child goes off to school, there's a depression that happens with parents.
with
Like,
the
wait,
emptiness.
who am I outside? Like, and then,
Yes.
when their identity was wrapped up into being the mom and being needed. And now the child is leaving the nest, going off and being their own person.
And now it's like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
My whole life was wrapped in this.
Absolutely.
So now tell me about the feelings, because we're getting to that feel free. Because now you came in today and you were like, nope, I feel free.
No, I want to get free. I don't feel free.
Okay, good distinction. Okay, so how do you currently feel?
How do I currently feel? I don't feel valued. Sorry. I feel, damn it.
No, you're fine. I'm gonna come closer to you.
Thank you. Again, when you see your company running and you're not in the mix, you feel out of the loop, and it's isolating, especially when it's a lot of people you brought on board, and you just feel like an outsider.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel valued. I don't think people want me to feel that way, but my feelings are valid.
Right.
Yeah, I don't feel valued. It's one of those things it was an ego thing, and I told our new EIC that when she came in. I said, look, I spent the last 2 weeks having to die to my ego, because the first thing I thought was, I put all this blood, sweat, and tears. I've lost all this money. I've sacrificed a lifestyle I used to love and gave it all up to fight for this brand. And someone's going to come in, and within a year, they're going to get all the awards. Mm-hmm. They're going to get all the recognition. And I'm trying to move past that, because it shouldn't be about the recognition and the awards, but we want to be applauded for the work and the hard work and the sacrifice.
It's valid, yeah.
And so, that was the feelings for me, just seeing that there's a possibility, I just gave up a really great life to see this brand get to where it is. And I haven't been happy since I gave up that life. And I feel like the people who work for me, they can tell I've been unhappy. And it's not up to them to make me happy or anyone else. So when I keep saying I got to get set free, I will say, so here's what I mean by getting set free. When you are in a place in your life and everything is resistance, like you swimming against the current every single day, and you got to force things versus it coming with flow and ease, it's probably a sign you're out of alignment with the highest version of yourself and where you need to be. And God is, he's trying to move you in a direction.
Yeah.
It's just whether you're going to listen to him and do what you know he called you to do, or you're going to stay over here because it's comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean when I say I need to set myself free.
When's your last day at your job?
Oh, girl.
Because I feel like that's the sacred moment.
Here's the thing. I did a podcast and this girl, Erica Cobb, sorry guys. That's really, I need some water.
I was going to say, do you need some water? Yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted them to say, why should they say Erica Cobb name like that? She's a wonderful woman, trust me. But she pointed out the sevens in my life. She said, you went on Rihanna's 777 tour. You left Nicole Bitchie in your 7th year. She said, and now you're going in your 7th year of running Exo Nicole.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, wow. Because I didn't realize I was coming up on 7.
Yeah.
And 7 is the number of completion for me. And so I think, going back to why I cry so much, I do think,
Okay.
damn it, they're going to be like,
No, it's okay.
I'm grieving, but I know I got to let go.
Yes, and take your time.
Yeah,
This is a safe space.
it was in Maya's book, something about you have to let go of who you used to be.
Yes.
Or something to be who God called you to be. Mm-hmm. And so what's so crazy about that is I keep saying I was living my life as though time was running out. I just know I'm probably, I'm dying to this version of myself.
Yeah.
But there's a new happy life out there waiting for me.
There's a, one of my friends, her name is Terry Chantel. Have you ever heard of her?
Y'all got the same name.
We do, girl. Same name.
Yeah.
She actually came on my Trade and Travel Life documentary tour, and she was one of the speakers in Dallas. She talked about writing a letter to Terry 1.0 because
Wow.
Yep, because Terry 2.0 didn't have room for Terry 1.0.
I know that's right.
Yep. And she talked about how, in her letter she wrote like, thank you so much for who you are because you got me here.
I know that's right.
But then she said, but I don't have room for you.
Girl, I gotta let it go.
In this next level. And she wrote like a full letter to her old self so that she could be her new self.
And when I say I gotta let it go, I just gotta let this version of me go. She can't go in that next chapter. And again, it's gonna probably shift my friendships. Mm-hmm. It's gonna shift my entire life. But God called me to something greater. Like I don't know if I mentioned I mentioned earlier, I have a period brand.
Yeah.
And God placed it on my life last year. I remember being so depressed because I was just like, what am I going to do after this? Because again, I didn't feel like it was my company anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'm very aware, like I'm online all the time. I saw founders getting let go from their companies left and right. I see Sophia, Zim from Travel Noir. And so that's always been, it's always been like giving me a sense of this thing is going to be taken from me.
Yeah.
And it caused me a lot of anxiety over the years. But yeah, so last year, I was taking a boost. His first lesson of his course. And guys, y'all, Abu is in the room. First lesson of his Power Your Launch course. And he was like, what do people know you as? If you were to launch something, would people be confused about it? And at the time I was working on a manifestation planner, but I felt like I had to oversell it every time I was telling people I was coming out with this planner. And once he said that, it made me realize I had been promoting this ingredient called DIM, which is found in broccoli, cauliflower, and those type of vegetables, kale,
Okay.
for about 3 years. And what this supplement does is it balances women's hormones, especially their estrogen. And when your hormones become balanced, your periods are not crazy. Like, they become perfect periods. Like,
And that's great.
yeah, and they never taught us that periods weren't supposed to be painful. So we didn't know. We just went our whole lives
Having discomfort every
oh my
month.
God, like women
Every
are
month.
really planning their lives around their periods. It's affecting their mental health because they don't know what's going on. They're wondering
Yeah.
why they're going through all this pain. And I think women are kind of semi-aware that if there's pain every month, there's something else developing, whether it's fibroids, whether
Yes.
they know it consciously, but they're scared to go to the doctor to get it checked out. And when they do go to the doctor either pushes them on birth control or,
Yep.
tells them to go get surgery, or it's this whole thing. And so they're not feeling heard. So for me, this supplement wasn't about just pushing a miracle pill for women. And this supplement has DIM and I3C and all these different ingredients, iron, vitamin D. Like, it was the
I'm
dream.
gonna start taking it, y'all. I need
Absolutely.
all this.
I created the dream supplement for me as a Black woman. And so I need to set Black women, especially in our uteruses, free.
Yeah.
And it starts with education. It's way more than take this supplement because it has all the nutrients you need, and it's going to balance your hormones so that it's going to reduce your risk for breast cancer, fibroids, PCOS. But it's about educating our community. I feel like what I've learned with having so many sites for Black women, we were so empowered when it comes to our money, our finances, our career, even in our relationships. But we feel very disempowered when it comes to our health.
Yeah, we do. And a lot, there's so many Black women that are suffering in silence.
Suffering in silence. Like, it's so many Me Too's when you start talking about fibroids or PCOS, and that's why I have to also focus on building community and creating these safe spaces for them to come in and talk about what they have going on and getting a recommendation for a woman of color doctor. Because that's going to make all the difference.
It is.
It
It is. Even for women, I heard that we, and you probably know the statistics better than me, but we also have problems with childbirth.
Absolutely.
And they don't listen to us.
Absolutely. And
then-
it does go back to the long-term, we're on these long-term uses of birth control. And it's almost like a thing where we're going to put you on a birth control for about 10 years plus. Then when you come off, we're going to put you on fertility treatments to help you with
that. Right.
Right. And then when you have the kids, if you are able to have the kids that you want, now we're going to tell you, we're going to give you a hysterectomy. And it's,
and we still don't know and we're still not educated on
anything that has happened in that time.
That the doctor just knows what to say and what's best.
Absolutely. And so it's even important for me, and I'm probably going to have ebooks that are free for women to even know what questions to ask at the doctor, what tests to ask for, what blood work you need, if you have some type of pain, so that they can advocate for themselves better. So that's what God called me to do. It's not as sexy as posting up with celebrities, being at, different events and being next to all these big names. It's not as sexy, but it's so necessary and needed right now.
And it seems
and I have a platform already. I can't waste my voice.
Right. You have a huge platform, and now you can bring a solution to them in a new kind of way.
Yeah, and I have customers that come to me, and they've had cysts and looked 6 months pregnant, and they come back and say, I went to the doctor and they can't find the cyst. My co-founder had a cancerous fibroid, and then they wanted to take her uterus, and give her a hysterectomy. And this is my former co-founder. And she, I told her about DIM, I3C and those type of things. She took that for 3 months. She went back. They couldn't find a fibroid or the cancer.
Wow.
She did go plant-based as well. So it's very important for me to actually let women know the lifestyle changes you should be doing as well as taking this.
Yeah, the supplement.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds
so it's like a multivitamin for your period, but it does so much more.
Yeah.
It's like an overall health vitamin, and I'm super proud of it. Custom formula made with Black women and our lifestyles in mind.
Now, it sounds like you were talking about getting free, but it sounds like this is like setting these women free is freeing you.
It is. Every time I thought about quitting, because e-commerce is a lot, like projecting, forecasting, inventory. I'd get emails of women who were just like, you don't know how much this has changed my life. I used to bleed through my clothes during my period, or I used to bleed for, 2 weeks at a time, which is not normal. But we're never taught what was normal.
Right.
And your supplement, like there was a woman who actually bled from March through September.
What?
She took my Happy Flow and the bleeding. No, the bleeding has stopped. She has regular cycle. She's one of my top. Shout out to Sia. She's one of my top customers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That changes your whole life.
And she was never getting answers. I see her commenting under different things when she's telling everybody else about my supplement, and she's tagging it. And she's like, my doctors wasn't giving me answers. And it's like this girl's bleeding for months. That now she's in jeopardy of iron deficiency, anemia, etc., and not getting answers. And I just think Black women deserve better. I want these women to take their lives back. And then another thing, I don't want Black women having to use their vacation days in their personal time to request off of work for their period.
Yeah.
We're going to be requesting off. Let it be a good self-care day, a vacation. But to have to take off every month because your period is just painful. I want Black women to be, and it's for all women, but our early adopters are Black women. Our needs are different. I think a lot of supplements are made by people who are not women of color, and they don't know our diets. High sodium stuff, seasoning. We love our seasoning. We have very high stress. We're taking care of so many people. And so I had to, when I was thinking about what vitamins were needed for each thing, it was carefully curated with Black women in mind. And so I'm super, that's purpose, and so even though it might take me a while to turn a profit, like those testimonials is like makes me feel rich.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the new season.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's always, for me anyway, I've been thinking through like what excites me. And I even had a friend ask me recently, like, Terry, what brings you joy? And I told him that I'm learning to have like passion projects.
Absolutely.
It might not be like, well, this thing is going to bring me joy the rest of my life. Nope. As we see, there's always going to be a pivot, always going to be a transition.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this season, like this is the thing that I'm excited about. And it sounds like you've got like a really cool project to be excited about.
And I get to be creative again. I'm the boss right now. I get to be the creative director of our photo shoots. I'm being creative with what to put on our social media. And what happened with XO Necole is I was a creator at some point during the Necole Bitchy days and XO Necole, but as you start bringing more people on, they are the creators now. Yep. And you're
the manager.
Yeah. And so one day you wake up and you say, I'm not even in my zone of genius. I don't even feel like the visionary anymore. Like I'm not doing the things that and I want to say this to creators, influencers. Like right now you're online and you're creating content and it's amazing. And I interviewed Maya, Shameless Maya.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of her?
No.
She's a huge YouTuber. She started by doing a challenge where she would upload a YouTube video a week, and she became huge. Okay. And she opened up a big production studio in LA. And now she has employees, right? We have like similar situation. She has employees. And now a lot of money is going out. not a lot coming in, and she's not happy. You know, she's not happy as a creator anymore. And she gave all of that up recently.
Wow.
Moved to Sweden. Now she has a baby, a new man. They got this, she gardens. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the life I thought I wanted.
Yeah.
She's in the garden and just living a whole minimalist and different life.
Best life.
And so you just have to, I think with creators coming up now, just knowing like, what does 5 years look like for you? And like a lot of us want to be entrepreneurs, but it might take you away from the visionary part. It may take you away from the creative part, because now you're hiring, you're managing, you're trying to figure out the money flow, and you wake up one day and you realize you're not doing anything
that you enjoy,
because you're trying to run this business. So that's my biggest thing to creators nowadays. And just even myself, like I realize I'm not creating in the way that I would like with Exo Necole.
Yeah.
But my happy flow allowed me back into, because I'm at the beginning stages. So I have to do a lot of the things. And I'm like, oh, I'm in my zone of genius again. And I don't know how to get back there with Exo Necole, because there's so many people on the team. Like, what is the projects that I can have that allows me to be creative?
Right. And maybe that is a thing of kind of letting that go and then completely moving into, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
Your whole face was like, oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but I don't want to be in a space where I'm just around just because it's like, because we see the hard work you put in this, so we're going to keep you around. But I'm not being used. That's what I don't want. So yeah, it's going to be interesting just to see how this year phases itself out. But I wanted to tell my story the most authentic way I can, because the bloggers back when I came up are the new influencers, the new creators. And so I don't know, you know, what their next is. A lot of it is, I'm going to create a production company, you know. And then later on, it might be, I just seen a creator, I feel like they got a big deal.
Which one?
I don't know. Shout out to Earn Your Leisure, because I be get my tea from them. But I think somebody got a huge, like a YouTuber got some huge deal or acquisition where they brought majority stake in their company.
Okay.
And that just comes, I wish a lot of business owners talk more about, like even the Lip Bar and Honey Pot, all these black brands have gotten millions in investments now.
Yeah.
What does that feel like when you have those millions in investment? Is that another level of pressure?
That's the thing. I think people get so excited because they're like, now this million is coming, but now I have this pressure to produce, and
absolutely,
and they get to tell me what that looks like.
Yeah, because if someone's investing in you, especially if it's a VC firm, they're expecting at least 10x their investment back. And so, you know, it's just a lot more pressure, a lot more at stake.
Yep.
And so I want to see more founders talk about what's that like? Is there isolation around that? Is there depression around that? So yeah.
If you could do it all again, would you do it the same?
Absolutely. Like every part of my journey was supposed to happen the way it is. Even the not knowing about the taxes and then the acquisition. I didn't know anything about investing or what selling the company really meant back then. It just wasn't talked about. I think one thing I'm doing differently now, I'm building up my circle, you know?
Yay. And hold on
Terry,
one
my
second.
new girl.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing things differently. I think before I had imposter syndrome, and so that prevented me from really building out my circle with really powerful women. Like I didn't feel like I belonged at the table. And so I would my circle would be women that looked up to me. But who was I? I want to be the dumbest person in the room, you know? So I think that stunted my growth and my income potential. I definitely want to be around more people who have been where I'm trying to go, and just expand. And I have a new sense of I belong here.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get here, but I belong here. In every table, every panel I'm invited to, I belong there. And it took so long for me. That's what's going to set me free.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's going to raise my income potential. And so, yeah, I'm very excited for this this next chapter.
And we friends now. So
we're
building a circle. Yes.
I'm excited. Yeah. Y'all are just amazing people.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and I'm just happy to know such amazing, like we met at Maya Elias's Built to Impact weekend. So, and the energy, it's funny because like I said, I started the year and I was under so much, the depression was crippling to the point where I would go to sleep every day at like as soon as the sun set, like at 6 o'clock. But I'm missing a whole rest of the day to do anything. It's like I couldn't even be productive because as soon as 6 o'clock would come, let me go to sleep. Just want to, the faster I get to sleep, the faster the next day is going to come. Right. Yeah. And, you know, faster I'm going to get free. And I was like, wow, you're really in a deep state of depression. And I remember I used to not like to talk about my depression because I felt like it would make me unlovable. But we all go through it. Yeah, we all go through it.
All go through it.
Absolutely.
In so many different ways.
Absolutely.
So many different ways. We all go through it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I went to Maya's weekend and I had been feeling super sad for weeks leading up to it. And those women there, the energy of the room, the speakers, you guys on stage with me, the women that came up to me afterwards, just poured into me so much. It's almost like it was like kryptonite or something. It just really gave me a new sense of purpose and positivity and all that.
And you even talked about, wanting a therapist, and I remember one came.
One came up to me after the event. I do want a therapist. I do. I want all the things, the life coach, the therapist, because I'm going in, God is about to take me to a place that's going to blow my mind, to places my imagination can't even go. I know it is, because I've been obedient, and I've answered the call. And so I just need to get my mindset ready. And I have to get myself ready. And that means not, give yourself grace if you feel depression.
Yeah. Because
we all go through it. Like entrepreneurship is so isolating. And especially if you're out here single and you're not doing it with a partner or something like that.
Harder. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think and this is the last thing I'll say, my money mindset was off for a long time because I equated making more money with less freedom, especially as a Black woman. It's hard for me to date already. I'm like, the more money I make, the harder it is for me to date, It's going to be even harder for me to date. The more visibility I have, I feel the harder it is for me to date. And so when you're equating making more money, having more visibility, you stunt yourself so much,
Like, I can't go too much further. Then he ain't gonna come. He ain't gonna like me no more. Yeah.
So, I have a lot of things to sort through with a therapist, but I can't wait until a year from now. You do a follow-up interview with me. And
yes, we talk about how everybody's using your supplement.
You'll see a big headline about how it's in every retail store and partnerships, and you'll be
let's dream for a second. So we're gonna what are we gonna see? So we're gonna see next year this time. What are we gonna see from Necole?
I love Terry. That's what you gotta dream big, and I think from Necole Kane. Yes, from Necole Kane, you will see My Happy Flow will be like a household name, because the word of mouth is just gonna, I haven't ran, and it became a 6-figure company within 4 months, after we launched, and I haven't ran an ad yet. I keep telling Abu, don't let me run an ad. Right now it's word of mouth and social media. And so I can't wait to get it in front of more eyeballs. Girl, I was watching your interviews today. You had an ad in front of every single one of your interviews. I'm like,
I'm getting good.
I'm like, sis got one of her ads for her course in front of every interview. I'm like, she done figured out ads. So
working on it.
Yeah. And so like I know for me and my company that I didn't want to be the face of this brand. I didn't want it to have to depend, but people need to know the why.
Yeah.
And they need to know the story behind it. And so I'm going to have to be more forward facing and go out there and do interviews and talk about why this is important to me. And so, yeah, I'm challenging myself to build the community I need to build, to be forward facing, have the visibility I need. And a year from now, I do want My Happy Flow to be a household name, as well as be on its way into retail stores, having thousands of monthly subscribers. We had a 42% returning customer rate in December.
That's excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you. And we're not even on subscription. I mean, and they keep hitting me.
Back.
They keep hitting me up like, when is the subscriptions? I can't keep inventory right now. So it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be having workshops and events that's empowering women in a new way with their health. And I'm super excited.
And then how are you going to feel?
I'm going to feel free.
I'm
going to feel free. I'm going to feel free. Yeah. And freedom for me is just, I know what I need to do. Like, I need to answer the call in the same way that I said when I left when we launched XO Necole, we were still trying to do celebrity stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I had one foot in and one foot out. That's what I feel like now.
So next year, this time, you're going to have both feet all the way in.
Yeah, and my XO Necole is going to be blossoming. It's going to be an amazing site. We have an amazing team.
Yeah.
But I have a higher calling and purpose that God has called me for.
And isn't that such a blessing that you do have a brand that's set up in a way where it will still grow and blossom without you?
This brand could one day live beyond me.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I'm so proud of what we've built. Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, thank you so much. And once again, let the people know how they can get in touch with you.
You can get in touch with me by going to, check out myhappyflow.co, especially if you're a woman with painful periods, cramping, if you're dealing with fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis. That supplement will be a game changer for you. And I just want women to be able to take their lives back and be the CEO of their menstrual health. So check us out, Instagram at myhappyflow.co. And thank you for following my journey and listening to my story.
I love it. Thank you for coming.
And watching me cry through the whole interview. This is going to be a mess.
It was great, Necole. It was great. Thank you for coming. I'm just so glad to share the stage with you. Or the couch with you.